Hey class, so today we are working on graphing a line using intercepts. So over here we have a little bubble. It says the x-intercept and the y-intercept are the points where the graph of a line crosses the x-axis at a point, and then y is 0, and then the y-axis where x is 0 and y is a number. So what that means is, say we have a dot here, and we have a dot here, and I'm going to try my best to make a straight line, but okay? So this right here, we know that this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis, okay? But this point right here is known as the y-intercept, okay? Because that is where the line crosses the y-axis, okay? So this, remember when you have points, you have an x and a y point. So this point right here, x would be 0 because x isn't 1, 2, 3, or it's not -1, -2, okay? So it has to be 0. And then your y coordinate is, we'll just call it b, because it's can be any number that we want, okay? Now this point right here is called the x-intercept. Okay, and this, in this case, our x-coordinate, we'll just label it A, okay, it can be any number, but then our y-coordinate has to be 0, okay, and that's because this right here, think of it as ground level, it's not 1, 2, 3, or it's not -1, -2, -3, it's all at 0, okay, so that's what this is. The x-axis is A and 0, and the y-axis, your x is 0, and then your b is a coordinate. Okay, next. So over here, it says identify the x-intercept of the following line. So the x-intercept on the first one would be right here. Okay, so in that case, my x-intercept, okay, following the points x and y, okay, so x in this case is 3, and y is not up or down, it is 0. Okay, now my y-intercept is down here where the line crosses the y-axis, okay, this is my y-axis, okay, and it happens at -2. So x is 0, let me just write this down. X is 0 and y is -2. All right, this one. My x-intercept. So if we look at, this is my x-intercept, let's follow where the line crosses. It crosses right here. Okay, so x is -6 and y is 0. And then I look at my y-intercept. Now here's my y. Let's go down, and it crosses right here at -2. Okay, so that means x is 0 and y is -2. So when you're doing intercepts, you always have 1, 0 coordinate. Okay, it says the x-intercepts, right down here, are actually 2 points on the line. If we know the coordinates of the intercepts, then we can graph the line without the slope or table of values. Okay, so let's check this out. So over here, graphing a line given its intercepts. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause and draw these for you. Okay, the first one I just drew for you. So we had the x-intercept was at +3, so I put a line there. The y-intercept was -1, so I put a dot there, and then I joined these lines as best I could. Okay, so that means my x-intercept, the coordinate x is 3, and the y-intercept is 0. Okay, the y-intercept was at -1, so over here x is 0, and y is -1. Okay, so the next one, x-intercept is -2, so that means x is -2 and y is 0. And then my y-intercept means that x is 0 and y is -3. So let's do this. X-intercept is -2, so -2 is right here. And my y-intercept is -3, which is down here. So this would be my line for that one. Okay. Next, for C, the x-intercept, ooh, this is different. It says none. So if it does not cross the x-intercept, okay, this is the x-intercept, that means that has to be a horizontal line, right? Okay, if it was a vertical line, it would touch, okay? So if there's no x-intercept, it has to be a horizontal line. So let's write that down. Horizontal line, okay? Now it is telling us the y-intercept is at +4. So if it is at +4, that means that this line is just always running on y equals +4. So that's your horizontal line. So that means the x-intercept is 0 and the y-intercept is 4. Okay, so that's your horizontal line. And last one here, x-intercept is -5, so that means x happens at -5 and y is 0. But now it says the y-intercept is none, okay? So if that is none, that means that it never ever crosses the y-axis. So this one's going to have to be a vertical line, okay? So, and if it happens at x equals -5, x equals -5 is right here, and that means x is -5, x is -5, so it's going to follow this line straight down. Okay, so now we have a vertical line. All right. Because the x and y axis are actual points on the line, we can use their coordinates and the formula for slope to calculate the slope of a line without graphing the line. Okay, so it says calculate the slope of each line from question 1 above, okay, that we just did. And I'm just going to put this down first. So just a reminder, that formula slope was y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Remember, you had to have 2 points. So you have an x and a y and an x and a y. So remember, we called one set of points x1, y1, and then we called the other set of points x2, y2. Okay, so I'm just going to get the points from previous, so just give me 1 sec. Okay, so I just grabbed these points from here. So this was A and this was B. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use our formula. So we have M equals, let's change this, M equals, so let's call this one x1, y1, and we'll call this bottom one x2, y2. So using our formula, y2 is -1 minus y1 which is 0. Then divided by x2, which is 0. Subtract y1, which is 3. And now we do the math. So -1 take away 0 gives me -1. Divided by, then on the bottom, 0 minus 3 gives me -3. And then negative divided by negative gives us positive 1/3. So that's our slope. The second one, x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have our formula. Slope equals y2 minus y1. So we have -3, subtract y1, which is 0. And then divided by x2, which is 0. Subtract x1, which is -2. So then we have -3 minus 0 gives me -3. And then divided by, and here we have two negatives. So negative and a negative make a positive. So this is really 0 plus 2, which gives me positive 2. So our slope is -3/2. So we know that the first one, because it's a positive, it's going to be a positive slope, and this second one is negative, so it's going to be a downhill negative slope. Okay, so C, that was this one right here. Oopsie, that was supposed to be this. Okay, so the x-intercept is a horizontal line, just x equals, 0 and -4. So this slope right here is horizontal line. Okay, and with a horizontal line, that goes like this, right? So your slope actually is 0. It's not going up, it's not going down, it just stays consistently flat. So your slope is actually 0. Now for D, which was this one, the vertical line, okay, so let's fill in vertical line. So the vertical line, that is straight up and down, okay? So because it is straight up and down, the slope is actually undefined. Okay. 6, it says, find the y and x intercepts when we know the equation of a line. So the coordinates of the x-intercepts are, we had talked earlier, for the x-intercept, A is a number and B has got to be 0, because remember it's x, and then y. Okay, and for the y-coordinate, it's reversed. Okay, so your x-coordinate is 0, and your y-coordinate is a number. Okay, so just remember, for x-intercepts, y equals 0, and for y-intercepts, x equals 0. All right, so if we use 0, the values, and substitute them into the equation of the line, we can find the intercepts with a few calculations.